Hello, YouTubers. Welcome to Level-Headed News. I'm your host, Brenda. Welcome to the 12th day of December of 2016. I've got a few articles here for you. I do more than one show today as I have a lot of things that I'd like to bring to you. So we're going to kind of group them up. This particular bunch, I've got a mishmash for you. The first one here is off of countercurrentnews.com. And it is entitled, Morton County Officials Finally Being Sued for Excessive Force Against Standing Rock Protesters. On Monday, the National Lawyers Guild, NLG, filed a class action suit through the U.S. District Court against Morton County Sheriff Kyle Kirschmeyer, and other law enforcement agencies for using excessive force against Dakota Access Pipeline protesters earlier this month. U.S. District Court in Bismarck by those who were hurt on November the 20th and November 21st. They want an immediate injunction preventing the Morton County Sheriff's Department and other law enforcement agencies from using rubber bullets, lead-filled beanbags, water cannons and hoses, explosive tear gas grenades, and other chemical agents used against the protesters. High time that happened, as far as I'm concerned. The next one we have here is off of Rutgers.com, and it says about 40 cars pile up on snowy highway near Detroit. That's the second time in the last week that's happened. Pile up involving about 40 cars in snowy conditions forced temporary closure of part of Interstate 75 northwest of Detroit on Saturday, and several motorists were injured, a spokesman for state police said. Michigan State Police posted photographs on Twitter of cars with damage to their bumpers and several vehicles with their trunks popped open, apparently after colliding with each other. No one was killed in the collision less than 40 miles northwest of Detroit, but some people were transported to area hospitals with injuries that were not life-threatening, according to the tweets from the Metro Detroit section of Michigan State Police. The cause of the crash is under investigation, Michigan State Police spokesman Lieutenant Michael Shaw said by telephone. Usually in these types of collisions, more than likely, it's from following too closely, he said. Shaw added that authorities were still seeking to determine how many people were injured in the chain reaction crash, which he said involved about 3 semi-tractor trucks in addition to the 40 cars. Northbound Interstate 75 was temporarily closed due to the collision by Saturday evening. Michigan State Police said on Twitter that the northbound side had reopened. Got to be careful on snowy roads. The next one we have here is off of the Duran.com, and it says, NSA whistleblower says DNC hack was not done by Russia, but by U.S. intelligence. On Aaron Klein's Sunday radio program, Aaron Klein investigative radio broadcast on New York's AM 970, The Answer, and Philadelphia's News Talk 990 AM, U.S. government whistleblower William Biney threw his hat into the DNC hack ring by stating that the Democratic National Committee server was not hacked by Russia, but it was by a disgruntled U.S. intelligence worker. The motivation of the hacker? Concern over Hillary Clinton's disregard of national security secrets when she used a personal email and consistently lied about it. Biney was just getting started with revelations we were sure no mainstream media news site will dare to cover. The pun did it fairy tale is just too easy for the sheep to follow. Biney also proclaimed that the NSA has all of Clinton's deleted emails and the FBI could gain access to them if they so wished. No need for Trump to ask the Russians for those emails. He can just call the FBI or the NSA to hand them over. Breitbart reports further, Biney referenced testimony before State Judiciary Committee in March of 2011 by then FBI Director Robert S. Mueller, in which Mueller spoke of the FBI's ability to access various secretive databases to track down known and suspected terrorists. Stated Biney, now what Mueller, is talking about is going to the NSA database, which is shown, of course, in the Edward Snowden material released, which shows a direct access into the NSA database by the FBI and the CIA, which there is no oversight, by the way. So that means that the NSA and a number of agencies in the US government also have those emails. So if the FBI really wanted them, they can go into that database and get them right now, he stated of Clinton's emails as well as DNC emails. Asked point blank if he believed the NSA has copied all of Clinton's emails, including the deleted correspondence, Bonnie replied in the affirmative. Yes, he responded, that would be my point. They have them all. The FBI can get them right there. Bonnie surmised that the hack of the DNC could have been coordinated by some inside the U.S. intelligence community angry over Clinton's compromise of national security data with her email use. And the other point is that Hillary, according to an article published by The Observer in March of this year, has a problem with NSA because she compromised gamma material. Now, that is the most sensitive material at the NSA. So there were a number of NSA officials complaining to the press or to the people who wrote the article that she did that. She lifted the material that was in her emails directly out of the gamma reporting. That is a direct compromise of the most sensitive material at the NSA. So she's got a real problem there. So there are many people who have problems with what she's done in the past. So I don't necessarily look at the Russians as the only ones who got in those emails. The Observer defined the gamma classification as gamma compartment, which is the which is an NSA handling caveat that is applied to extraordinarily sensitive information, for instance, decrypted conversations between top foreign leadership, as this was. Zero Hedge has some background on Bonnie, who is about as rock solid as a security analyst as you can get. Over a year before Edward Snowden shocked the world in the summer of 2013 with revelations that have since changed everything from domestic to foreign to U.S. or domestic to foreign U.S. policy, but most of all provided everyone a glimpse into just what the NSA truly does on a daily basis. A former NSA staffer and now famous whistleblower, William Biney, gave excruciating detail to Wired magazine about all that Snowden would substantiate in the following summer. We covered it in a 2012 post titled, "We Are This Far from a Turnkey Totalitarian State. Big Brother Goes Live September 2013. Not surprisingly, Bonnie received little attention in 2012. His suggestions at the time were seen as preposterous and ridiculously conspiratorial. Only after the fact did it become obvious that he was right. More importantly, in the aftermath of the Snowden revelations, what Biney has to say has become gospel. Biney was an architect of the NSA's surveillance program. He became a famed whistleblower when he resigned on October the 30th, or on October 31st, 2001, after spending more than 30 years with the agency. He referenced testimony before the Senate Judiciary Committee in March of 2011 by then FBI Director Robert S. Mueller, in which Mueller spoke of the FBI's ability to access various secretive databases to track down known and suspected terrorists. So there you have that one. Now, the next one that I have for you is off of WND.com, entitled "Devious Plot Grows to Shut Down Trump's Inauguration." A group of leftist activists is plotting to shut down the inauguration of Donald Trump on January the 20th, forcing the president-elect to take his oath of office behind closed doors if Trump is to be inaugurated at all. The group, known as DC Counter-Inaugural Welcoming Committee, or hashtag DisruptJ20, says it calls on all people of conscience to shut down the ceremonies. It continues, if Trump is inaugurated at all, let it happen behind closed doors, showing the world that the vast majority of people in the U.S. do not support his presidency or consent to his rule. Like oh, wait a minute, that's an ad, okay. And it goes on. Gotta watch these ads. They sneak them in on you on these articles. It says, Lacey McCauley, a spokeswoman for hashtag DisruptJ20, told WND The group is anticipating a massive presence in Washington, D.C. during the inauguration. We cannot yet say how significant this disrupt will be, she said. We are creating a framework to support mass protests and direct action to shut down the inauguration of Donald Trump. Macaulay said the group is providing housing, food, and legal assistance to protesters who join the effort. WND asked Macaulay why the members of law enforcement and media are not welcome at the community meetings, and if the group is planning disruption activities that will break the law and cause protesters to be arrested. And she says, I can safely say that some groups are likely planning actions that might result in arrest scenarios, she said. Sorry, I cannot give specifics at this time, due mostly to the fact that plans are still in flux, but also due to the fact that not all information is public. As for the ban of cops and reporters at meetings, Macaulay explained, our meetings are safe zones in which people want to speak freely without knowing that police officer is listening or thinking that they could be quoted in the press. This is especially important when Trump and Trump-affiliated people threaten intermittently to violate our freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and freedom of expression. On Wednesday, leftist activist and filmmaker Michael Moore endorsed the Disrupt J20 plan in a Twitter post, citing Hillary Clinton's 2.7 million popular vote lead and linking to the group's website. Disrupt the inauguration, he wrote. The majority have spoken by nearly 2.7 million votes and counting. Silence is not an option. And it shows his tweet here in this article, and there is some video if you would care to take a look at that. And it says, and it's called Action Disrupt J20 declares Trump stands for tyranny, greed, and misogyny. He is the champion of neo-Nazis and white nationalists, of the police who kill the black, brown, and poor on a daily basis, of racist border agents and sadistic prison guards, of the FBI and NSA who tap your phone and read your email. He is the harbinger of even more climate catastrophe, deportation, discrimination, and endless war. He continues to deny the existence of climate change in spite of all the evidence, putting the future of the whole human race at stake. Vladimir Putin, Golden Dawn, and the Islamic State all cheered his victory. If we let his inauguration go unchallenged, we are opening the door to future they envision. The group's spokes council is holding community meetings to plan the shutdown, the first of which is scheduled for December the 11th at 6 p.m. in Washington, D.C., which was last night. The spokes council is open to individual activist organization staff, affinity groups, collective artists, medics, and healers, and anyone who wants to help shut down the inauguration. An announcement states, law enforcement and media are not welcome. And then shows a picture of their poster, I guess, here. And then it says, DC officials say they expect upwards of 1 million people to pour into the nation's capital for the inauguration ceremony and parade. According to Washington Post, police officers and National Guard members from across America will be assigned to Washington for the event. Along with DC police, the city will bring in 3,200 law enforcement officers from across the country to mainly work the parade route, the Post reported. 7,000 members of the National Guard will also be in the district unarmed and watching over the route. U.S. Capitol Police, which will also have a large security presence, would not comment on the inauguration plans. The National Park Service told the Post about a dozen groups have applied for permits to protest on federal property. Some Twitter users responded to Michael Moore's call for disruption of Trump's inauguration with following tweets. And it has a whole big long list of those here. I'll read a couple of them. One says, protest by all means, but disrupting the legal and constitutionally sound inauguration of a president is dangerous in the extreme. Another one says, what do you call a man who won the electoral vote but lost the popular vote? Answer, Mr. President. According to the London Express, ISIS has threatened to target Inauguration Day and has declared it will be a bloody Friday. Also, as WND reported, a self-avowed Marxist member of the Seattle City Council, who is part of the George Soros-funded Occupy Wall Street movement, has called for a massive protest against Trump and a nationwide shutdown on Inauguration Day. Oh, it's going to be an active day, isn't it? Okay, the next one we have here is off of KATU.com, and it says Portland recognized by White House for effective end to veteran homelessness. Mayor Charlie Hale and Multnomah, I can never pronounce that right, Multnomah County Commissioner Chair Deborah Caffery announced Saturday that the city and county are being recognized by the White House for putting an effective end to veteran homelessness. Hales said Portland is the first West Coast city to accomplish the federal government's mayor's challenge to end veteran homelessness, led by First Lady Michelle Obama. The recognition reflects the federal government's confidence that the city and county have built proper infrastructure and systems to ensure that any homeless veteran will quickly get the help he or she needs to get into a permanent home. Achieving the White House mayor's challenge means ensuring that the chronically homeless veterans will be housed within 90 days, continued outreach to veterans refusing to be housed, and the number of veterans being housed is greater than the number becoming homeless each month. Since Mayor Hales, Chair Caffery, and a Home for Everyone's coalition accepted the White House's challenge in January of 2015, nearly 1,300 homeless veterans in the area have been placed into permanent housing. Over the past 2 years, the city of Portland's and Multnomah County have committed $30 million in resources to reduce homelessness, $2.5 million of which was specifically directed to serving veterans. The city and county also created veteran by name list in 2015 to identify all homeless veterans in the community. As of November 28, 2016, there were 30 homeless veterans in the community, and 87% of them were connected to a housing resource. Only 11 veterans were newly identified and added to the community's list since September 1st of 2016. Several organizations, including the Portland VA Medical Center and Home Forward, as well as nonprofits including Transition Projects, Central City Concern, Join, Native American Rehabilitation Association, and others collaborated to achieve this goal. And I found this extremely interesting because I recall just a few months ago that there were homeless people being loaded into buses in Portland and in other areas out west in the western states and disappearing. And no one could figure out where these people were going. The authorities were contacted by several individuals asking questions, and nobody had any answers. But now all of a sudden this pops up. So I have to wonder how legitimate this mayor's challenge to end veteran homelessness is all about. I mean, if this is what was going on, why wasn't this made public and in the news all year that they were doing this, trying to accomplish something? It sounds shady to me, very shady. The next one we have here is off of conservativetribune.com. Government considers making felons and lottery winners ineligible for food stamps. Major changes could be coming soon for two groups of people receiving food stamps: certain convicted criminals and winners of large lottery prizes. On Thursday, the Department of Agriculture published a series of proposed rules that would enforce laws passed by Congress nearly 3 years ago. I mean, I can't make this stuff up. 3 years ago, how much money has been blasted out to these people that they've been considering cutting off for 3 years. Seriously. The last farm bill, signed into law on February the 7th of 2014, authorized federal spending for the welfare program and prohibited both serious felons and substantial lottery winners from receiving benefits under the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, according to the proposed rules. Section 408, or try that again, 4008 of the bill prohibited anyone convicted of federal aggravated sexual abuse, murder, sexual exploitation, and abuse of children, sexual assault, or similar offenses under state laws, as well as those who are not in compliance with the terms of their sentence or parole or are fleeing felons from receiving food stamps. Existing rules already prohibit fleeing felons and probation or parole violators from obtaining SNAP benefits, but now anyone convicted as an adult of murder or aggravated sexual assault will also be barred from receiving food stamps, the Daily Caller reported. Now I'm going to interject right here. If you're convicted of murder, and I would also assume aggravated sexual assault, wouldn't you be in jail? And how does someone in jail get food stamps? But I digress. Back to the article. Section 4009 prohibits households containing a member with substantial lottery and gambling winnings from receiving food stamps until the household met the allowable financial resources and income eligibility requirements of the program. And there is related video in this if you want to check it out. The article goes on and says the substantial lottery and gambling winnings must amount to $25,000 or more from the lottery before taxes in order to render the household ineligible for SNAP benefits, according to the Daily Caller. In addition to these major updates, the proposed rules also mandated that each state have a system in place to verify the immigration status and income of anyone who applies for food stamps. That should have been there all along. Okay, states currently have the option of using verification systems to determine SNAP eligibility, but the new rules, if enacted, seriously? Okay, would require each state agency to create an automated system for checking applicants' requirements. More than 44 million Americans were reportedly receiving food stamps as of November the 10th, 2016, according to U.S. Department of Agriculture data. Oh, I mean, I can't make this stuff up. Seriously? This was something that was supposed to happen 3 years ago, and they haven't enacted it yet. And then it says, if enacted. Man, wrap your brain cells around that one. Wow. And these people, these are elected officials that are making the big bucks, folks. All right, let me go on. The RT.com. FBI sent plane load of agents to frame Assange in Iceland, got snubbed by the minister. Now, this is your tax dollars at work, okay? The U.S. sent a plane load of FBI agents to Iceland in 2011 to frame WikiLeaks and its co-founder, Julian Assange, according to former Icelandic Minister of Interior, who refused them any cooperation and asked them to cease their activities. Wouldn't you like to know how much money was spent on that? Okay, go on. In June of 2011, Obama administration implied to Iceland's authorities they had knowledge of hackers wanting to destroy software systems in the country and offered help. Then Interior Minister Ögmundur Jónasson said in an interview with the Kajkos publication, however, Jónasson said he instantly became suspicious of the U.S. good intentions, well aware that a helping hand might easily become a manipulating hand. Later in the summer of 2011, the U.S. sent a plane load of FBI agents to Iceland seeking our cooperation in what I understood as an operation to set up and frame Julian Assange and WikiLeaks, Jónasson said. Icelanders seemed like tough nut to crack, though. Since they had not been authorized by Icelandic authorities to carry out police work in Iceland, and since a crackdown on WikiLeaks was not on my agenda, to say the least, I ordered that all cooperation with them be promptly terminated, and I also made it clear that they should cease all activities in Iceland immediately, the politician said. So the U.S. were told to leave, and moreover, the politician made things quite clear to them. If I had to take sides with either WikiLeaks or the FBI or CIA, I would have no difficulty in choosing. I would be on the side of WikiLeaks, he said. Jonathan went on to discuss other whistleblowers like Edward Snowden. The Althing, the Icelandic parliament, debated over whether Snowden should have been granted citizenship, but there hasn't been political consensus on the matter. Iceland is part of NATO, and such a decision would be strongly objected to by the U.S., Johnson said. Both whistleblowers have spent several years under protection. Assange has been staying in the Ecuadorian embassy in London for about 4 years, while Snowden was granted asylum in Russia in 2013, and he is still staying at an undisclosed location there. The next one that I have for you is off of foxnews.com, and it says, Venezuela seizes nearly 4 million toys, will give them to poor kids. Bogota, Colombia. Venezuela's socialist government has seized nearly 4 million toys from a private company and says it will hand them out as Christmas gifts to poor children this holiday season. The country's fair pricing authority seized the toys Friday from 3 warehouses run by Kiesel, Venezuela's largest toy distributor. 2 company executives were detained on suspicion of promoting price speculation. Agency Director William Contreras alleged that Kressel underreported its inventory in order to sell some toys at higher prices. Kessel has not commented officially beyond responding to Twitter messages of support. Authorities said local supply committees will be in charge of distributing the toys fairly to children. Venezuela has been racked by deep economic crisis, accompanied by shortages of goods ranging from food staples to medicine. The next one I have for you is off of MotherJones.com, and it says the House GOP just revealed its plans to cut Social Security. But never fear, I have another article after this one to follow this up with, so let's just read this. Late Thursday, Representative Sam Johnson, Republican of Texas, the chairman of the House Social Security Committee, introduced a bill to reform, which is cut, Social Security. Josh Marshall warns Republicans apparently aren't going to be satisfied with phasing out Medicare. They're going to try to pass huge cuts to Social Security this year, too. Not Bush-style particular phase-outs, just big, big cuts. And you're out of luck even if you're a current beneficiary. The Washington Examiner describes it thusly. The bill would reduce costs by changing the benefit formula to reduce payments progressively for high earners. It would also gradually raise the full retirement age from 67 to 69 for people who are today 49 or younger. Lastly, it would change the inflation metric used to calculate benefits to one that shows lower inflation, essentially slowing the growth in benefits and eliminate cost of living adjustments for higher earners. It says you can read the full bill below, and it says Democrats are not pleased. Well, I'm not pleased either, and I'm not a Democrat. The whole thing is in there. If you would like to read that, and all these URLs, of course, are in the description of my videos, so you can check them out at your leisure. But the next one that I have for you, this is off of Sam Johnson, House Gov /news, and it says, press release, Sam Johnson unveils plan to permanently save Social Security. Today, Ways and Means Social Security Subcommittee Chairman Sam Johnson of Texas introduced legislation that will permanently save Social Security, ensuring this vital program continues to work. for today's workers and beneficiaries and future generations. For years, the Social Security Board of Trustees has cautioned the program is on unsustainable, I'll get that right eventually, unsustainable path. This year, the trustees report warned workers will face a 21% benefit cut starting in 2034 if Congress does not reform the program. Chairman Johnson's legislation, the Social Security Reform Act of 2016, H.R. 6489, puts Social Security back on a sustainable path by modernizing the program for the 21st century, rewarding retirees and individuals with disabilities for their years of work, and improving retirement security. Upon introducing the legislation, Chairman Johnson said, "For years I've talked about the need to fix Social Security so that our children and grandchildren can count on it to be there for them, just like it's there for today's seniors and individuals with disabilities," said Johnson. "My common sense plan is the start of a fact-based conversation about how to do just that. I urge my colleagues to also put pen to paper and offer their ideas about how they would save Social Security for generations to come. Americans want, need, and deserve for us to finally come up with a solution to save this important program. The Social Security Reform Act of 2016 ensures Social Security will be there when Americans need it by modernizing how benefits are calculated to increase benefits for lower income workers while slowing the growth of benefits for higher income workers, gradually updating the full retirement age at which workers can claim benefits. The new retirement age better reflects Americans' longer life expectancy while maintaining the age for early retirement, ensures benefits keep up with changes in the economy by using more accurate measures of inflation for the annual cost of living adjustment, protecting the most vulnerable Americans by increasing benefits for lower income earners, and raising the minimum benefit for those who earned less over the course of long careers, promoting flexibility and choice for workers by eliminating the retirement earning test for everyone. This allows workers to receive benefits without a penalty while they are working, or fully delay retirement and wait to receive benefits. For those who delay claiming benefits, they can receive increases in partial lump sum or add it all to their monthly check. Encouraging savings for retirement by phasing out Social Security tax on benefits for workers who continue to receive income after they retire or stop working due to a disability. Targeting benefits for those most in need by limiting the size of benefits for spouses and children of high-income earners. Treating all workers fairly when their Social Security benefits are calculated by using the same proportional formula that looks at all of an individual's earnings over the course of his or her career. To learn more about Chairman Johnson's Social Security Reform Act of 2016, you can click a link here to read more. There's another link to read the full text, and to read the security actuary letter, there's another link. So there is all that information for you. And that's all I have in this episode, but like I say, I'll probably have a couple more episodes at least for you today. Keep you up to date and current on what's going on. Till then, hope you have a wonderful day. Balance yourself, soak up some earth energy. If it's snowy where you are like it is here, try to stay warm. Get a breath of fresh air sometime today. We'll see you on the next episode.